Yeah. So, okay, so let's start from the beginning. Okay, so here we have a UI which allows you to map multiple OpenClinica studies to a single collection protocol in OpenSpecimen. Okay, so right now I have mapped a single OpenClinica study to a collection protocol called OCTS in OpenSpecimen. Okay, so here name, this is some logical name that you give to the mapping so that you can identify what exactly is this project that is mapped to this collection protocol. And then here you specify the server, okay, uh, where from where the data needs to be fetched. So and you specify actually which data set you need to run. Okay, so what I am specifying here is this is my OpenClinica project. This is the server configuration name which encapsulates all the details of what is the IP address of the server, where the files are stored on that server, things like that. And dataset, it actually tells you which dataset needs to be downloaded into OpenSpecimen so that it can be ingested or it can be parsed and imported into OpenSpecimen. Okay, and then here it's a list of recipients who will be notified whenever new data is imported into OpenSpecimen from a corresponding OpenClinica studies. Okay, so that's the basic information, and once the basic information is filled up, you will then specify the mapping of study OIDs to the corresponding collection protocol sites. So for example, a single OpenClinica study might be running at multiple sites, and each site will have its own OID, right? And here you specify the mapping of those OIDs to the corresponding collection protocol sites. So all you are saying here is, so all the patients that we get from the study whose OID is S underscore 101 will be treated as patients sourced from this Glenfield hospital. Okay. And similarly, you can also specify mapping between the OpenClinica events and their corresponding OpenSpecimen events. So on the left hand side, you specify the OID of the OpenClinica event, and then on the right hand side, you actually specify to which event or visit in OpenSpecimen the data needs to go. So what I have done here is I have specified the initial visit of OpenClinica study, and its data needs to go in the visit identified by baseline in OpenSpecimen, and same things apply for the rest of the events. Okay, and then we have the OID mappings here. Actually, the OID mappings actually specify what happens here is, as you know, there can be multiple instances of OpenClinica running at different sites, and each site instance might have different OIDs for the same set of CRFs. So, however, you might be running a single instance of OpenSpecimen, and therefore you might want to unify all these CRFs into a single form or a CRF in OpenSpecimen, and that's where this OIDs mapping come into picture. So all that this allows is it allows you to specify what CRF OID maps to the corresponding form in OpenSpecimen. We will go how this mapping is specified. We will go through the mapping, how to specify this mapping in a while from now. But this section actually specifies how the OIDs are unified. Okay, and to end this overview section, here we have a JSON which specifies the CRF forms and how those CRF forms needs to be interpreted. Okay, so I will come to this part also when I actually demonstrate the CRF or specimen collection via OpenClinica. Okay. Yeah. So I will come. So I will come to that point when I actually discuss the OID mappings in more detail. This is a quick overview of what all you see in a study overview page. Okay. So at the top you see some basic information, then you see how the sites are mapped, events are mapped, and how the OIDs are unified, and how the specimen collection, what are the specimen collection instruments and how they are interpreted by OpenSpecimen. Okay, so that's a very quick overview. And then you also have another tab called import logs. This, as you know, it actually shows how many data imports happened, when they started, and during each import, what was the activity. So it is like saying like 29 CRF metadata was imported, one subject got created, one visit got created, and 16 specimens were created for this single visit. Okay, and these were all created using 4 CRF records. Okay, so something like that. So this gives you statistics of your import. Okay, this is okay. So now with this brief background, let me go to the OID mapping CSV. Okay, so as you know, you might be having the same CRF, but those same CRFs might be assigned different OIDs at multiple instances, okay, of OpenClinica, or within the same instance, different projects might be using different OIDs or different names for the same field. Okay, and this is where the OID mappings or OID unification helps. So this CSV file has has fields corresponding to OC, and it also has fields that are relevant for OpenSpecimen. Okay, so let's start with this first row. Okay, so the first row, first column, that is the CRF OID. It actually specifies the CRF OID in OpenClinica. So what is it specifying? It is specifying blood collect is my CRF OID, and this is the field blood barcode. Okay, so this is the item OID, that is the field OID in OpenClinica. Now what I am saying here is, now this field in this CRF needs to be mapped or is same as the field is same as the field barcode. It is same as the field barcode in a form whose name is whole blood collection. Okay, and the caption of that form is whole blood, in brackets you will get to see fluid. Okay, and this is the caption of the field. So before this, to make this more meaningful, let me go back to the
sorry, why is there a name and a caption?
yeah, so let me go. No, name and caption are different, so that's why let me go to OpenClinica. Okay, so this is the OpenClinica instance, and so right now I am showing OpenClinica UI. Okay, and okay, blood collection. Okay, so now let's see this. Okay, I just wanted to view this form. Okay, so this is how it is. Okay, so this is the CRF, how it looks like in OpenClinica. Okay, so what is it saying? It is saying blood, and the fields are appearing as barcode, quantity, pathology, biohazard, and something like that. Okay, now what I'm trying to say with this mapping here is, just like OpenClinica has OID, OpenSpecimen has something called as field names and form names. So these are logical names internally used by OpenSpecimen to uniquely identify a field or a form. Okay, so you can treat them as same. These are along the same lines as OID in OpenClinica. We call them as form names and field name instead of CRF OID or item OID. So a CRF OID directly maps to OpenSpecimen form name, and an item OID maps to OpenSpecimen's field name. And these are used by OpenSpecimen internally for uniquely identifying forms and fields in the system. Okay. Now this caption, what you are seeing here is, this is what you actually see on the UI. Okay. Let me show you how it appears on the UI. So I have some things already done. Let me show you, and forms. Okay. Okay. Now this is how it appears, label. Okay. Whereas in OpenClinica it was appearing as barcode, something different. Okay. So uh, this also allows you not only to unify the OIDs, but it also allows you to unify the terminologies that are used across multiple instances. Okay. So if you see, it is barcode, pathology, and biohazard, whereas here it is label, pathological status, and biohazards. Okay. So you can not only map the OIDs to the form names and field names, but you also can map the captions if you want. If you want, okay. It is an optional field. If you don't want, you can leave it blank. Okay. And open space.
And how it will come up at the user?
Yeah, if you leave it blank, it will pick whatever was specified in OpenClinica.
It would be the also.
Sorry. Yeah. So if you leave this field blank, so if I had left this label field as blank, then it would have picked whatever was the display name in OpenClinica, which is barcode.
Is it barcode or eye blood barcode?
No, it is barcode. This is what it is used. This is what. See, display names are different from item OIDs. Okay. So here I am referring to you the caption field. Okay, caption. Now, if you don't specify this, then Open Specimen will use whatever was the display name used in OpenClinica, and that is barcode. Okay.
And what about the field name? Can we specify that?
No, this field name is mandatory. You cannot. That is what we are doing here. That is what we are unifying, and you cannot leave this field blank. If you leave this field blank, an error will.
No. I won't leave the field blank, but I have to specify it. So am I going to choose randomly on my own, or is it something that you will provide?
No, it is your CRFs, so you will design it what the name should be. So we will not provide you anything. So it is you who will design all these field names, what they should be, and what their values, what their names should be actually. So we will not be providing anything. See, this is just a sample uh, that I am providing. So you might want to call this, instead of barcode, you might want to call it as unique label ID.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what I say. That anytime I use a new name and stuff,
Hmm.
it can be configurable,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So these are the, so these are some, yeah, go ahead.
In the query.
Yeah, so it will be field caption. This is what appears in the query to the end user, right? So you will be filtering based on this. So this is what appears. Field caption is what appears to the end user, right? So these are internal. These are internal.
We will have to do both. Just the fielding is what is in the back end for them, and the field caption is what we will see as a user. So if in OpenClinica we have one that is correct, so it's SP1SC and we want to keep that, then the caption should be blank. But if we want to correct it, we will correct the caption for another CRF. So that's how I get it.
Yeah, but by security, we should always correct it.
Always, yeah.
No, can you come back again? Maybe I lost there. What was the discussion?
No, I think it's okay. We discussed.
See, basically, this is the field name that OpenSpecimen uses. You will never encounter with these fields unless you are writing AQLs on your own. Okay, but this is here so that I identify. See, for example, let me give a more concrete example here. Okay, so this is the CRF blood collect CRF. It has an item whose OID is blood barcode. It is mapped to a field barcode. Okay. Now I have another CRF whole blood collection, which is used by another site. It also has a barcode field, but its OID is altogether different. You see here whole underscore WB barcode, but I map it to the same field.
Yes, can I just say that this for us is something that, for me at least, is something that is iterative, and basically I could just call in the field name just barcode, all capital, because this is what we want to harmonize it. We want all our variables to be capitalized.
You can do whatever.
So it would be capital barcode, everything, and then the field caption should be capital barcode.
No, if you want the field caption also to be above capital barcode, you specify here capital barcode, all caps.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I would like the field caption to be the same as the field name.
Hello, your voice is breaking, and hello.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah.
So, for example, the quantity variable, because I have too many mappings coming from OpenClinica and then OpenSpecimen, I don't want another mapping happening between the back end and the front end of OpenSpecimen. So quantity with small letters, a quantity just with a capital Q, I don't want that. So I would like everything to have the same name. Everything, for example, to be quantity.
Yeah, you can specify whatever you want. That flexibility is provided in this. So this is just an example, and this is our convention that we have used. So you can use everything in caps, and that is possible. That flexibility is available to you.
Just a remark, because if I have the option of giving a name, or for example, OS field caption, I know for sure by uploading a CSV, there might be errors. So I might, you know what I mean? So I'm just suggesting that automatically the OS caption name gets taken by the OS field name.
Okay, so I will note it down as a feedback, and I will discuss this internally with Sri and come back on that. Okay. Because we also would like to make this plugins generic enough for use by others in future. So yeah, I will discuss this internally and come back on that. Okay.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Okay.
When you give it as a field, when you give it, then it would change. But when you omit it, it should take this name, not the OpenClinica name. So when you omit the field caption name, it would be better that it takes the OS field name rather than the OpenClinica name. So do you get my point?
Yeah, I got what you are saying. I got what you are saying. Yeah. See, sometimes what happens, these field names could be smaller ones, okay? Whereas the captions could be long questions, okay? So the field names in OS are limited to 30 characters. So for example, if you have a question like how many cigarette packs do you smoke in a day? It has more than 30 characters, assume for example. So all that will be done something like this, and this is what will start appearing in the OS UI, and it might not be intuitive to the end user, that is the researcher who is actually do running the query. You got what I'm saying? So the field names, that might be very useful for you as a programmer, but when I use the same field names as the captions, they might not be useful to the end users or the researchers who will be running the queries.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
But in OpenClinica, that's not the OS OID. In OpenClinica, that's the left item text, which you don't retrieve it from.
Yeah, so you can consider this as the left item text actually, okay? So for all practical purposes, this is not a name. This is the left item text is what I would say, okay? So this is for your understanding, it's the left item text.
Then you could easily retrieve that as well from OpenClinica.
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't,
From OpenClinica right now, you don't retrieve the
no, no,
the
no,
left item.
no. If you no, no, no. If you remove everything, then we will copy whatever was the left item text in OpenClinica. I am showing you the possibility where people would have used different left item text for the same thing, and you want to have a unified terminology, in which case you will also use this field, okay? So if assume if one site is using something called as pathology and another site is using what is pathological status, now how are you going to remove that conflict, right? And provide a unified way. That's where you can also unify not only OIDs but also the left item text. Yeah, was that clear? Yeah, so basically that's what you do here. Uh, you actually
I
specify.
understand
Yeah,
that this has to be as generalized as possible,
yeah,
so it's fine.
yeah. Yeah, so basically here you specify the CRF OID, item OID, and then you specify exactly what it maps to in OpenSpecimen. So you specify the form name. Again, this is not needed. If you don't want, you can remove this. Okay, and OpenSpecimen will use whatever is available in OpenClinica. But if you also want, see, for example, in OpenClinica, it is blood. Okay, it is appearing as blood, sorry, blood collection, it is appearing as blood collection, whereas I would like this to appear as whole blood fluid in my open specimen, and that's where I specify this, okay? And the same thing happens for the fields. So you specify how the items map in open specimen and what are their new left item text values in open specimen, okay?
What is the subform name and subform caption?
Yeah.
Is it the tab?
Yeah, so it is this repeating group, okay? So you have a repeating group, something like this in OpenClinica, okay? That repeating group actually maps to something called as a subform in OpenSpecimen, okay? So this is what it is. This is what it is. This is a subform in OpenSpecimen. Let me show you, okay? So this is what we call as subform, okay? So you can also, so I specify here the group OID and say that this group, the repeating group, okay, which has different OIDs in different CRFs. See, it has blood underscore A underscore fields, whereas it is whole underscore AWB fields. And I specify that these two repeating groups actually map to a subform which is identified by the name aliquots in OpenSpecimen. And this is the left item text that I would like for that repeating group. So in OpenClinica, it is appearing as aliquots. In OpenSpecimen, it is appearing as plasma aliquots. Okay, and that is because I have renamed them here. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, this is the other thing I missed out to tell you here is sometimes the response options that you use in OpenClinica might not be available at the OpenSpecimen side, in which case you can also map them. So for example, see here I have two sites which are using completely different response option. One is using,
For
yeah,
the same field I want to map them to, right?
yeah, exactly. See here it's pathology, whole pathology. One site is using MA for malignant, other one is using just M for malignant. But in open specimen, they actually map to something called as malignant. So you have the response options all comma separated, just the way you specify in OpenClinica, and the corresponding order in open specimen. So MA maps to malignant, MA in maps to malignant invasive, MA NO in maps to malignant pre-invasive, something like this. Okay. So let me show you.
So can you go, yeah, on the right? No, on the right, where the respawn options in open specimen are, please.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you, is this a CSV, is it just one column or?
Yeah, it's a one column, and the spreadsheet has opened this way. It is just a one column where you have everything. Let me show you
By
that.
comma?
Yeah, yeah. So let me show you that, so that it becomes easy. So this is how it is. Where did it go? Yeah. So this is one column. This is one column. So I put everything under quotes, within quotes. I put everything within quotes here, as you can see here. So I have a left quote and a right quote. So whatever comma and whatever I do inside it, they will be part of the same field.
And does it work like if, I know, on one CRF, the possible answer are yes, no, and on the other CRF, it's yes, no, unknown.
Yeah, it will work. So you might, yeah,
So
you.
you would just need to add the extra answer in both of them, right?
No, extra answer needs to be added where you have that extra. So for example, assume here it is, okay. So this has three options. This has assume four options. Let's call this as not specified, NS, okay. And for this particular thing, for this particular row, you will go and specify not specified. So because I want a one-to-one, because I want it to be one-to-one, uh, so that I know NS actually maps to not specified. So here you go and specify not specified like this. Okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is how you actually specify the mappings. So you have things like OC, which belong to OpenClinica, and then you have the columns starting with OS, and these are all these are all open specimen specific stuff. Okay, so in most of the cases it's a one-to-one mapping. Your CRF void is mapped to form names, the group void is mapped to subform name, the item void is mapped to the field names. Okay, the response options map to OSPVs. Okay, apart from that we have two more columns here, the captions, which are nothing but, we have the additional columns called captions, which are nothing but the display values, the values that are displayed to the end user on the UI screen, which you call them as left item texts. Clear?
Yes, just a question.
Yeah.
When you did the CSV, in order to have all this, did you download something from OpenClinica or you had to do it manually?
No, these are the names that I referred from OpenClinica here. No, you mean how was this CSV prepared?
Yes, so you just copy paste it, right? There's no way that you retrieve something like, not the entire thing, but just the all IDs from OpenClinica.
Yeah, yeah. The voids are anyway available here in OpenClinica. So you
Okay.
copy here, you copy this and paste here. You copy this, paste here. And anyway, this
Yeah,
is what you design. Yeah.
yeah. Don't worry, yeah, because I did the same, and I'm just wondering whether you have retrieved like a file in an easier way, because the only way to do it right now is by copy pasting.
Yeah. Fine. Yeah. So once you prepare this CSV file, you have an option here called as import OIDs mapping. Okay. And you go here, you click on this, and you choose that file and you submit it. Okay, you choose that file, you submit it, and open specimen will then start showing you this section, OIDs mapping section. Okay.
Okay.
I will make some changes to hide this, so that it is collapsed by default, so that you don't have to worry. It is needed only in case of debugging or other purposes. But yeah, so for all your practical purposes, all that you need to do is go to more menu, click on this, choose the file, submit it. Once you submit, this section starts appearing with the JSON and all the stuff, the way the Open Specimen maintains it internally. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so now, okay, so that's the first thing that I wanted to show you. So let me recap here. See here, I have two different types of blood collection CRFs, okay? Two different types of blood collection CRFs, and they are all mapped to the same form. Okay, so both the CRFs are mapped to the same form. Now what I will do here is I will do some specimen collection, say for example blood collection. I will fill a blood collection CRF at the OpenClinica side, and I show that it gets synchronized at the open specimen side, and the corresponding specimens will be created. Okay, so let me go to the subject matrix. Now what I do here is I will create a new subject. Okay, uh, I will create a new subject. Let me show you also that this subject does not exist in open specimen. Okay, so let me go here and show you that this subject does not exist. Okay, so as you can see, it is saying no records found. Fine. Now what I will do here is I will create the subject. I will fill all the required details. This some value, some random values that I choose here, which are not important for my demo. Okay, so I will create this new subject. Okay, once I create the new subject, here I have some forms. So as I said, I have two CRFs here, blood collection and whole blood collection. They are mapped to the same CRF or the same form in open specimen, but now I will fill this CRF. Okay, blood collection. So let me open this, and since I have some well-defined formats, I will copy this formats here. So this is the barcode of my primary specimen. I will specify the quantity. I will also specify that this is a malignant, non or pre-invasive specimen, and let me specify the biohazard as Y, and let's see that the same value gets synced at open specimen side. Apart from that, I also like to create some aliquots here. Okay, so let's say I would like to create aliquots here, some values, so that we can show that it has actually picked the values from OpenClinica. Okay, let me mark this CRF as complete and save it. Okay, so this is the CRF that I created and standardized in open specimen. So I will do data entry for another CRF. This is called as specimen collection CRF, which you actually provided to me. Okay, and what I will do here is I will only scan some barcodes here, while leaving all other fields blank. Okay, so what I will do here is I will scan the barcodes of sputum. Okay, okay, then I will scan the urine barcode here. Then I will also scan one more sputum barcode, sputum 2. Okay, okay, all this is done. I will scan the barcodes. I will say I am done with this CRF, and I will save this CRF. Okay, so what I registered a subject, I finished a visit, and did data entry for a couple of CRFs at OpenClinica side. Okay, now I will be exporting the data set. This is done all automatically by OpenSpecimen, but for demo purpose I am doing this. For demo purpose I am doing it manually here. So let me
Okay.
go here, mm, export the data set. So I'm not sure which one is what. So let me delete all the data sets that were created today so that I know exactly it is using the latest data set. So I will run this once more. Go back to the data set. Okay, this one got just now created March 14. Okay, so I will download this data set. Okay, now what I will do is I will go back to the OpenClinica Open Specimen CP mapping, click on this more. I have one more option called as import here. I will click on this. Here I need to choose a zip file that has the metadata and the data, that is the dataset XML. So I will go, I will choose file, go to the downloads. So this is the latest one that got downloaded 1711. I will choose the zip and I will say submit. Okay, and I will see whether the job got completed or not. So it is listed as in progress, and once it's done it will come up with all the statistics that it worked on. So it is taking some time. Okay, so it's done. So okay, so the job started at 5:12, it ended at 5:13, and during this process it imported the metadata for 29 CRFs. At the same time it registered a new participant and it created or updated the data for 26 specimens that was present in that dataset XML, and all along the way it also updated 6 CRF records. So now let's go. So as you can see here, I am on another screen. To start with, I had no participant with this PPID. Now let me search once again for this participant and see that it appears. Okay. Uh, okay. Now you can see here. Okay. Registration date is 5/12. That participant appears. Now this is not all that we want. We also want to see whether the specimens got created or not. So since I said the initial visit is mapped to baseline, the baseline visit gets automatically created. Now let me go to this baseline visit and show you that uh, from your CRF, I collected sputum 1, sputum 2 and urine 1, right? So those are marked as collected here, okay? So these are marked as collected here. Apart from sputum primary, I also collected some aliquots there, if you remember, 1, 2, 3. So those are also marked as collected, okay? And I also filled another form that was whole blood, and their specimens are also appearing here. And I selected some value called as MA. Let me go back and show you actually. Subject matrix 300, 308, view, and this was it, right? Yeah, now you see here, this is the pathology status that I chose, MANOIN, which is nothing but malignant, non-invasive, pre-invasive. Okay, so this is how it appears here. Okay, so you can also map the response options to corresponding PVs in OpenSpecimen. Okay, so
Yes.
the CRF data entry at OpenClinica side results in creating a subject, a visit, and corresponding specimens at OpenSpecimen side.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
And if I want the barcodes to be scanned only in one form,
Yeah.
not from two, as you did now.
No, no, that was for demo purpose. That was for demo purpose.
Yes.
But you can, for all practical purposes or for your purposes, you can just have one CRF with only one text field, and you can scan as many barcodes, and those barcodes will get will result in creation of specimens at the open specimen side.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have for this demo. If you have any more questions, let me know.
No, this is great. So in order to work the the quantity and all that you specified for the
Yeah, so let me show you those quantity also get updated here. See, for example, I specified 1000, I specified 1000, 2000, 3000, something like that, right? So, and you will see those values will start appearing here. So, let me show you here. So 1000, okay. So for the first aliquot it was 1000. For second aliquot I chose 2000. It appears here. For third aliquot it was 3000 and it starts appearing here. So it's not only about barcodes. You can map any other fields of your CRF to corresponding fields in OpenSpecimen. And quantity is one example that I demonstrated here. Sorry?
It will change the default value that was assigned to the aliquot.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so for example here, see, let me show you. So here is a pending specimen and its default value was about 2 million cells. Okay. Whereas in OpenClinica, I said no, it is only 3000 cells and it got updated here.
And can it be more than what was defined?
Yeah, it can be any value. Any value that is specified in OpenClinica. That any valid value, I mean, you cannot specify ABC as a quantity and then you expect it to get updated here. It will result in any valid value in OpenClinica will be copied to OpenSpecimen field. Sorry?
And if it's empty?
If it is empty, it will be same as this. See, for example, in sputum, I did not specify any quantity and it got 10 ml, which was available at the requirement side. So that intelligence has been built into the plugin.
yeah, that's great. Okay, this is great. So you told me that this has been uploaded on our test server.
No, I need to. I'm not sure because I don't deal with that. I will get in touch with Sri and check with him whether it is uploaded, whether the latest version is uploaded or not, and come back on that. Yeah, give me some 10-15 minutes after this call. I will check and come back on that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Sri says it's updated on your test server.
Thank you, Sri. No worries.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, I don't have anything. You? No.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.